I can't see behind me, but I keep thinking that I wanted to tell everyone that now during these days of Lent, when we get to the prayer of Saint Ephrem, O Lord and Master of my life, do not permit the spirit of laziness and meddling, the lust for power and idle talk to come into me. We're encouraged to make prostrations 3 times. This is what you see the clergy doing, but it's not just for the clergy. It's for everyone. Make prostration in each of those as we're able, according to our physical abilities. And then 12 bows, saying, O God, be gracious unto me, a sinner. And then the 4th time we repeat, and we also make a prostration. We use our bodies in worship. I find myself really emphasizing again and again and again a simple truth, but that escapes our notice many times, that God created us body and soul. Body and soul were created together uniquely. There is no such thing as the soul without the body. This is an aberration. This is something that is abhorrent to God's plan. And we face at our biological death the temporary, painful separation of the body from the soul. But we look forward, as we say over and over again in the Creed, to the resurrection of the dead. So when the body will be rejoined to the soul in its original state, which we're not exactly sure what it's like. It's some kind of materiality, but it's not exactly like the bodies we have now that are susceptible to corruption and sickness and death. But there is no such thing as a soul without a body. No such thing. And I think a lot of times in our culture we've become convinced, we kind of talk casually in this way, that the soul exists without the body. But that's not true from a Christian perspective. Our body is given to us to help us toward our salvation. Saint Seraphim of Sarov, he says, now during the fast, for example, he says, the body is meant to aid my soul in uniting with God, to aid my soul in prayer. So that when it's not a fasting period, if I eat too much, it makes me tired. Does it make me want to get up and go to pray? No. It makes me want to go and take a nap, right? So it's this hindrance to my salvation. It's a hindrance to my being united with God. At the same time, he says, if I eat too little and I have no energy and I can't get up out of my bed in order to pray to God, that also is not good, because the body is supposed to aid me in uniting with God. So the same thing now during these fasting periods, we're asked to use our body to aid us. Father Thomas Hopko, who I understand came here some years ago to give a talk, he has a famous maxim where he says that all throughout the year, we should make at least 1 prostration per day. This humbling of our body, literally, humbling means to make low. To make low our body once a day in front of the icon of Christ communicates something imperceptibly to our soul. It tells us we are not as great as we think we are. That God is the one ruling this universe, ruling our lives. We are submitting to Him. So we make this prostration low before Him. So I encourage you during Lent this year and every year, take advantage of that. In the old countries, they didn't have pews, and this was to allow people to use their bodies in worship more freely. But you should feel free to step out into the aisle if you want to. Make some space for yourself so you can use your body. I've heard people say to me, "Oh, but Father, I don't want to make a scene. I don't want people to talk about me. I don't want people to say, oh, look how pious she thinks she is, or look how pious he thinks he is." You know what I say to that? Who cares? Who cares what people think? This is our tradition. I am not embarrassed by our tradition. I'm not embarrassed by our tradition. This is our tradition. If they want to talk about you, that's their loss. I think, the bishop said in the sermon yesterday, he said that we're not called to be of this world. We're called to be different, holy, set apart. How do we do that if we look exactly like the world in everything we do? We don't. We have to be different. So I make the prostration because I don't care what the world thinks. I walk around in a black dress in downtown Birmingham because I don't care what the world thinks. I really don't. I'm called to be not of this world. So I encourage you to use your bodies. That was just a preface, sorry. No, I'll try to be short. So I was excited because I saw this hymn on page 33 of the PDF, the Apostica, the first hymn of the Apostica, where it says, this is one of my favorite every Lent. Come, O believers, let us labor with zeal for the Master. So what's happening now? We've entered into Holy Week. Once we enter into Holy Week, we start taking everything a half a day early. So Holy Week proper begins today, Monday, but we started it last night because the church is so excited to get to Pascha, to the resurrection that we know is coming. We take everything a half day earlier by anticipation, we say. So last night, for example, we sang Orthros, the morning prayers for Monday, last night, right? This morning, we did the evening prayers with Holy Communion. This is the pattern for the first few days of Holy Week. Tonight, we're doing the morning prayers for tomorrow morning. And this will continue. We're a half a day early. And each of these days of Holy Week is dedicated to a theme or themes. So the first day of Holy Week, which started last night and continued this morning, Holy Monday, some of the themes are Joseph in Egypt, Joseph the patriarch, his story. Another theme is the withered fig tree that Jesus curses. Today, the second day, now we've begun Tuesday of Holy Week. And you can see that some of the themes are the parable of the 10 virgins, the 5 virgins who are wise, who held enough oil for the lamps, and the 5 virgins who were foolish, who didn't have enough oil. And a parallel parable of the talents. So both of these have to do with the oil and the lamps, and the talents, meaning this sum of money, are both stand-ins or symbols for the grace of God. So in this hymn, it's referring to the parable of the talents tonight. It says, come, O believers, let us labor with zeal for the Master, since he distributes his wealth to his servants. He's talking about giving out the talents. Not just to the servants in the parable, but to all of us. He has distributed some wealth, some talent. He has distributed to us at our baptism, at our incorporation into his holy body, the church. So it continues, let each of us correspondingly increase the talent of grace that we received. Correspondingly, meaning that everyone has a different talent. But regardless of those differences, we are united in being called to increase it. So whatever the talent is that God gave us, we're called to increase it with zeal and labor. The hymn continues, let one acquire wisdom by means of good deeds. So let one person who is prone, is apt to good deeds, let them do that, and so doing acquire wisdom. Let another celebrate the liturgy with splendor, right? And notice here, it doesn't say, let us do adequate deeds. It says, let us do good deeds. It doesn't say, let us sufficiently celebrate the liturgies of the church. No, it says, let us celebrate with splendor. Let's do everything we do with excellence for God. But these are different gifts. It says, let the believer communicate the word, the gospel, to the uninitiated. In other words, be a teacher. And let another disperse his wealth to the poor. And so let us increase that which was lent to us. Lent to us. Lent. God gives us these gifts, these talents in our life, so that we can increase them for him and then return, give him back a profit, like in the parable of the talents. So that as faithful stewards of grace, because what we're really talking about here is not money or oil, but grace, the grace of God. As faithful stewards of grace, we may be counted worthy of the Master's joy. So, this one always strikes me because even the Apostle Paul talks about in his letters to the Corinthians, there's all kinds of problems going on in Corinth, but one of the big ones is that there is a sort of fight going on within the community about which people have which talents, which role they're going to play in the body of Christ. And so Paul responds in several ways, bringing up several beautiful metaphors. He says, are all teachers? Are all prophets? Do all speak in tongues? Right? No. The answer is no. We're not all the same. We're each given a different gift. But apparently in Corinth, they had a sort of hierarchy of gifts. And everyone wanted to be the one who spoke in tongues, the one who prophesied. Everyone wanted to be a teacher, right? Because these were the more glorious positions, right? Everyone wanted to be the singer. Everyone wanted to right? But then Paul goes on and describes the body of Christ. Does the eye say to the hand, I have no need of you? No. Each plays a role in the body. And the church is the body of Christ. Each of us plays a vital role, but we cannot play the same role. I was just thinking a minute ago about, have you ever seen, there's this, what they call, the arm wrestling world champions, right? And there are these guys that their right arm is like enormous muscles, and the rest of their body is like atrophied. I mean, it looks ridiculous. It's so out of whack and so out of proportion, right? Then I think about us in the church sometimes. We still have these same problems that they had in Corinth. Everyone wants to be a teacher. Everyone wants to do this. Everyone wants to do that. But we look like sometimes the arm wrestler with this huge right arm. Why would we do that? Why would God apportion the gifts, the talents, in such a way in his own body? Why would he give 90% of the people in his body to be the right arm? That makes no sense. Why would God do that? The answer is he wouldn't. Everyone has a different gift, but we all have to work together as the body of Christ. We all have need of each other, but we all are given a talent, a gift. The key then is defining what is that talent. And that's where we need the head, Christ, to help us ascertain and discern what our particular gift is. And that happens usually through the bishop or the priests who are in charge of organizing or facilitating this body and finding a role for each, equipping the saints for ministry, as St. Paul says, building up the body of Christ in this way. So tomorrow morning we will have the pre-sanctified again, which is the evening prayers of Holy Tuesday. And then tomorrow night, Tuesday night, we have the morning prayers of Holy Wednesday. And the Tuesday night service is most famous for the hymn of Cassiani, a very powerful, complex, beautiful music that really requires a special talent from God to be able to render this beautiful hymn. I mean, some of the versions in Greece, the compositions are 25 minutes long. I mean, just gorgeous, and this beautiful, heart-rending poetry inside. So thank you for coming. I hope that you continue to come and benefit from the services of Holy Week. God bless you all. I invite you to come forward and venerate the icon of the Bridegroom.